with all these documentaries and everything coming out, since we're talking about documentaries.
Yeah. There's another one.
Yeah.
This is,
I want to preface it. Because the week before, everybody was in the upster because of Jacquees.
Yeah.
Jacquees,
it's funny, that's funny
funny.
that was going on before that.
Jacquees claimed to be the king of R&B.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, nah, nigga, you ain't the king.
Yeah.
And so everybody was like, well, who is the king?
Mm-hmm. It brought up that conversation. It was almost like, you ever wonder if real life can be like a precursor, like can be a pilot episode to something that's coming out.
And in the current era, I think they claim that like it's between like Chris Brown and who is it?
I don't know what people. Chris, I'm not really connected
like some
to
other
R&B
dude.
like that. I'm not gonna lie.
Can't remember who's the other dude.
Anthony Hamilton. I heard his name show up.
My first thought was Chris Brown and Trey Songz, but
Yeah,
I don't think Trey Songz is as relevant anymore.
I don't know if Trey was the one, but then they went back to the 90s and early 2000s, and it was without a doubt R. Kelly.
Yeah, like you can't really even dispute that R. Kelly is probably is the king of R&B for definitely the 90s and early 2000s. Like, honestly, and I didn't even mention this in the whole entire time we had been talking about the R. Kelly, but he was my introduction kind of to secular music, because my parents had me listening to pretty much gospel for my entire upbringing. Then I went to the Boys and Girls Club, and like everybody would be watching music videos in there, and I just remember somehow happening across the Ignition music video, the Ignition remix music video, and that song was so catchy to me that it sent me down a tirade of watching music videos, and that was kind of how I discovered I like other music. Like, I didn't even know like what other music I like. It didn't send me down R&B, but like I really liked Ignition. I really liked the Ignition remix. So,
and exactly close to like an exact week after that,
yeah,
the Surviving R. Kelly documentary dropped, and shit was crazy.
Yeah.
There's so much that I didn't know about this whole situation. First of which, I didn't know that there was a whole movement going out against this man since 2017. Mute R. Kelly?
Just since 2017?
Yeah, that was around the time when they talked about the sex slaves that he had.
Yeah, I did remember that coming up.
Which is, it goes in a long line of stuff that this man has been involved with that gets obscured because of how good his music is. Like, with the initial case as far as involving the 14-year-old that he was on video with.
Yeah.
And he was acquitted, which during that time period, folks, they kind of just let it go.
Yeah.
Like, people in general just let it go because he was acquitted for it.
It's like there was so much we didn't know about the situation that this documentary brought to light, but we knew enough. We've known enough for a long time.
Yeah.
To where, I don't know, this shouldn't be happening today. This should have been happening. Like,
to this day, I've never seen that video because if you
see that.
right, like if you describe something as R. Kelly urinates on a 14-year-old, I wouldn't want to see that.
I haven't seen the video. I haven't seen the trial. I don't know what the girl looks like.
Nah.
Yeah.
But for somebody to have allegedly been involved in that, because based off what I heard, folks said, oh yeah, that's definitely R. Kelly in the video. Mm-hmm. We don't know who this girl is, but that's definitely R. Kelly in the video.
The girl was Sparkle's niece.
Right, which was shown in the documentary. I'm talking about like from back then what I was hearing, but
you knew that back then though.
Yeah,
right.
She testified.
Exactly, like Holt testified, but then you got her family who was apparently paid off, and she said that she ain't speak to the rest of her family for 10 years after that, which I could imagine that's probably pretty traumatic, knowing like you introduced your niece to this person, and then this happens, and then you go to speak out about it, thinking that the family's gonna have your back because it's clear and evident that this is what happened, and then everyone shuts up. And then after that, his music still continues to be popular.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking like number one hits, plural. Let alone the stuff that he's written.
I was about to say
for other
that's only
people.
for him. Like R. Kelly, and that goes deeper into it because that's why a lot of these artists was not speaking out. Like I can't remember. Where did you see that? I remember you pulled up a video of like a girl talking about like all of the artists R. Kelly has wrote for and all of the hits that he's made for other people, and how you haven't heard any of these artists say anything about R. Kelly, even though you know these people be knowing. That's why we've been saying for every one of these stories, there are people around this main figurehead that's messing everything up and that's doing fuck shit, and they're just letting it happen. People just let stuff happen, like out of complacency or just that's not my problem. Somebody over there,
like
somebody's gonna do it. Somebody's got to say something.
Man,
like
he's just paying me, man. He's my boss, man. I don't have nothing to do with that.
And then they're neglecting it and passively benefiting from it. It's like they do, in their mind, probably when they think about it, they might not want to be benefiting from something when they actually say it in words. I am making money because I don't want to rat out a pedophile. Like, they don't want to say it like that in their head, so they found, mental loops to get around wording it that way to themselves so they can feel better about it. But they were passively profiting, a lot of people, from not, saying, hey, this Fire Festival is fake. Hey, this person's raping 14-year-olds. Hey, like, there are too many situations like this.
This man has written a lot of music. I just went and looked it up. I didn't know that he wrote Fortunate.
Yeah, like, it's
Maxwell?
crazy how much R. Kelly has written. It's like, and that's another thing that's probably difficult for people. How much of him do I have to detach myself from? Is it just his music? Is it everything he's wrote? Is it like...
Yeah, Michael Jackson's "You Are Not Alone." He wrote that for a 17-year-old girl who he was dating, who he got pregnant, and she had a miscarriage.
That's what that song's about.
Yeah, like
that's crazy.
Like while watching the documentary, like they started to go over his discography a little bit, and the song called "Sex Me" came up, and I was like, "Sex Me? I don't think I've ever heard that song." So I went to go listen like all the other people. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is the sound I've been chasing and loving for all of my life. Like the typical 90s, like, boom, boom, doom, 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 boom, like type of shit. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I was like, oh, I fell for the genjutsu.
Mm-hmm. The same way. Yeah. 2004, Aaron Magruder came out with his second episode of his world-renowned cartoon, The Boondocks. And you know what the very second episode of that show is? He said, I'm going to introduce y'all to my characters at this little garden party. I'm just going to, throw this little thing in so y'all know who these people are. And then we're going to talk about R. Kelly. That's the second episode, the trial of R. Kelly. The first season, episode 2. Like, he laid it out on the table, and he wasn't the first one. People have been talking about R. Kelly and all of his messed up tendencies and just things that he does for years. And all we care about is the music. And
it got to the point where Dave Chappelle made a whole skit about it, and it was a joke. Like,
that's what we took it as. We took it as a joke.
But I mean, honestly, like I can easily acknowledge R. Kelly's a horrible person, but it does make it weird to listen to his music. But you can't turn off the switch in your brain that likes how something sounds. Like it's a weird line to walk, like liking somebody's music, but really not being okay with them as a person.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that should be done with every artist. It's like, you can't erase the music. You can't tell your brain, hey, don't like this. You really just have to separate the artist from the music. And in cases like this, where it's real serious, and sometimes maybe you have to say, hey, I can't listen to this no more. It's like, but, that you can't tell people what to do when it comes to that regard. But just know when you give R. Kelly more streams and when you give R. Kelly, your ear and your attention, he profits. So
pirate all of his music.
if
If you want to listen to him, pirate all his shit. Don't
Bring
go to
back
Spotify.
Has his music not already been taken from streaming services yet? Like, because I bet you they still aren't willing to give up that profit. That's how one person.
Check Spotify.
Yeah, real quick.
It would be crazy. I don't even know because I don't look it up. But that was another thing. His streams and plays and searches went way up since this documentary. Like,
Yeah, like some people were like confused to how that were to happen, but
He's still
it
on
makes
Spotify.
He's still
makes
on it.
perfect sense.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
People are when you bring somebody's name back up, people look it up, and
Yeah.
you bring up all that nostalgia and all these songs
Yeah.
that they used to like that wasn't even on their mind up until now, and it's like we talking all this stuff about R. Kelly. I ain't heard,
Yeah, and they even said it was like, how many kids sang "I Believe I Can Fly" at graduation? I know I did.
I did.
How many people did "Step in the Name of Love" at their wedding or anything
R.
like
Kelly's
that?
from
It's like,
Chicago.
I ain't been married yet,
I'm
saying
from Chicago. There's so much R. Kelly rooted in my childhood, and I wasn't even a fan. And he's just, I think of all these situations in which R. Kelly stuff was used. Family dinners, family
Yeah,
gatherings,
like- it is really ingrained in Black culture, and it's hard to separate that.
Man.
It's hard to talk about. It's
Black events will never be the same without step, side to side, round it. Man, we can't do that no more.
It's,
We have to replace it with the Cupid Shuffle.
the D-Lo shuffle. Those would be another Chicago artist.
That's right.
Replace it with Finito.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know he wrote so much music for Aaliyah. Which, I mean, now when you mention that, you have to think about that time period. How old was she? How much time were they spending together?
Yeah,
Let's start with how old was she when they got married? When they got married,
She was 15.
she was 15 when they got legally married and had to get it annulled by her parents.
Yeah, R. Kelly got one of his road managers to forge the documents, the marriage certificate. Yeah,
Like there's no
saying that she was 18.
It's terrible. Like,
I
there's
didn't know
no
that.
getting around this or buttering this up to make it sound any better. Nothing he did.
Yeah,
Like
at all.
he didn't even go into the sex slave, the sex cult part.
yeah, like
Because that's more atrocities right there. What blew me the most about the documentary itself was that you had the parents of these then children on there talking about, we let our daughter go with him alone.
complacency on everybody's part. The parents, his team, like
In some cases,
everybody's at fault.
in some cases, willing compliance to sex with minors.
Yeah.
Like what's her name? Old girl that said that she was involved with some of the things involving a 14-year-old.
Oh yeah, I forgot her name, but
Like, she went off and she said, "Yeah, I had sex with her too." And I'm like, "Bro, are you kidding me?"
yeah, she didn't know her age at the time.
Thinking about just like my development as a human being and like when I started to think critically and when I started to have confidence in my opinions on things and like just like in my own decisions. I was well into adulthood. Like I've seen people, try and blame the victims to a certain degree and be like, they made these decisions. But I just know who is making sound decisions at 14, 15. Who's making sound decisions at 22, 23 at this point? Like, yeah, it was a decision these children made. But how is it not the adult's responsibility to be like, this is wrong? The person who has been around, all of the adults involved, like, I don't know. I don't know how people are putting any other sort of opinion on this subject. It's like these girls ain't know. These parents knew. R. Kelly knew. R. Kelly's team knew.
Yeah.
Like these girls were chasing stardom. I'm sure a lot of them were. Like they R. Kelly was selling a dream.
Yeah, he was selling dreams, man.
Is I don't know.
This is
because he's good at music. We let him.
This is the theme of the episode: selling dreams.
Man, like how you go from your house full of kids and then leave your house full of kids and go write songs like Feeling on Your Booty, like just all of his music
has a tinge of pedophilia to it now.
Jay was
Like,
talking.
I can't look at any of his stuff the same.
Yeah, he called himself the Pied Piper.
Yeah,
Like,
it was funny. Somebody explained like that to me in a barbershop not too long ago.
It's like it was so obvious when you think about
Uh-huh.
it. Like the Pied Piper. That's so creepy.
Can you explain the whole Pied Piper deal? Like
yeah.
who the Pied Piper's
Like the
character-
story?
Yeah, the
yeah,
story.
The Pied Piper is a guy that played music to lure kids out, and then he would play the music, and he would just leave the village, and all the kids
He
would
took
just
all
come
the
with
kids
him.
with him.
Yeah.
And he called him, and R. Kelly called himself the Pied Piper of R&B.
Mhm.
That like right. It's like, and I'm thinking, I'm like,
motherfucker.
when I heard, because I heard that, and I'm like, oh, he just enchants people with his music.
No, specifically
But no,
kids.
it's specifically children. It's so gross. It's
Golly.
Y'all
I hate
check
this.
your people. Check all of your people. You know, if you got somebody that you know and they doing something, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know why we find it so hard to call out the people close to us.
I think
In a lot of situations, not even people close to us. You know, just people we're involved with. Like, it's so easy to say that's not my problem. That's what it really boils down to. I think it's just pure laziness and pure just like somebody else is gonna deal with this.
Yeah.
Everybody's concerned with their own deal, and I get it. I can be like that. I can definitely be like, this doesn't affect me that much.
But
Like,
once it takes a turn into legal shit, you gotta stand up. Like,
Yep.
you got to.
once it gets that big, like in all these situations, but like not with R. Kelly's. Like that was like as soon as he did that, somebody should have been like on it with his ass. But yeah, there's a lot of
But you know what though? As a culture, we didn't,
no.
because you like chronologically, all this stuff happened. The trial happened. He got acquitted. Nobody like this, a lot of this information, the fact that folks are up in arms about it now proves that some folks were not looking at this as critically as we should have been back then. Or else he would have been in jail and he wouldn't have released all this good ass music up till now. For one, which is a big part of why we haven't been looking at it, because he was acquitted and then he went on to release a lot more stuff. He went off to do some pretty good projects.
Mhm.
Like, I think Ignition came out after all that, yes?
Yeah, that was in the 2000s.
There was that. There was the whole Trapped in the Closet series.
Mhm.
There was 12 Play.
This is all stuff.
12 Play was before.
Oh,
Like
wait, that was what was the one that had the reggae track on it? Slow Wine.
Another song. God damn it.
It might have been one of the 12 Play sequels. But
That's what I meant. One of the sequels. My bad. But I mean, he's been doing tours and everything, doing a lot of collabs with other artists, let alone what he's been writing.
Yeah.
yeah, he was like a Harvey Weinstein. Like, he was so confident that he was ingrained within the system that he couldn't be taken out.
Mm-hmm. I wonder when he started worrying. I wonder when he started saying, "Oh wait, like a lot of people's getting outed right now." Like,
When some of them,
yeah,
Probably.
Me Too. I'm sure he started to sweat around there. I just wonder the the immediate, like the moment when he's like, I'm coming. My time is soon. Like he had to know. He had to know eventually somebody. Like when I think about like the Boondock spiel that Huey made at the end of the episode when he's like, hops on his podium and is like, hey, y'all tripping in the courthouse or whatever. I don't even think that was hard enough on him. Because even they make jokes like y'all should have took his camera, y'all should have introduced him to some older woman. It's like at that point, it is over. Like it should have been over a long time ago. Ain't no introducing. Ain't no. It's like that's what they did. Like, actually, that's what they did. They got better at hiding it.
That man was hanging around high schools at 21. Like
then the girl say
it was ingrained within his behavior to be like that. Like.
Y'all think about that old dude that ain't let high school go and he's coming around and helping out the kids and whatever activity he used to do there. That's all I got to say about that. Like y'all know them, y'all know they exist at y'all high schools.
Like I can. Well, I've had a similar situation to that.
Yeah,
and. I can imagine being so oblivious to where you can't even like catch a hint of what somebody's doing along those lines. Like,
because I've gone back to help out with the band at my high school, and like I knew people who would say things about these girls that were still in high school, and I'd just be like, y'all are pushing it with some of the stuff y'all saying. But who knows how many people acted out on some of these situations? So check your people.
Overall disappointment.
Yeah, with a lot of stuff that happened last year in general, but it wasn't all bad last year. It wasn't all bad. It was a lot of bad, but I personally liked a couple things about 2018. Y'all think anything good that happened last year that y'all want to bring up before
Into the Spider-Verse was
Into
amazing.
the Spider. We had some good animation in 2018. Media, it was alright.
Yeah, it was. People say it's the best Spider-Man movie. I'd have to agree with them.
I agree.
Yeah, I loved Into the Spider-Verse. I want to see it again. I still only seen it once, and like that. No, that's like it's very few movies I go back to the theater to see again. But I want to catch that one again before it leaves theater.
I liked how this movie, it paid homage and reference to all the meme-worthy moments of Spider-Man of past.
They did it in a perfect way. Like, that whole ending cutscene. Like, I really want to watch the whole movie again entirely for that ending cutscene. But I want to watch the whole movie again anyway. So, but that's just the icing on the cake. Like, they brought up the good and the bad. And, yeah, great movie.
And, not really unrelated, but it brought up something on Instagram that I liked. Artists did like Spider Sonas, where they just took their own version of Spider-Man, however they wanted to do it. And
just created a new Spider.
Yeah, and it
thing.
Just made a bunch of cool art, cool designs. Yeah, shit that could be a real thing now.
Word.
Yeah, well, does anybody have any other movie, video? I mean, TV show related things that they liked about 2018 before I move on to my favorite thing?
My Hero.
My Hero was good. This season was good. Y'all making us wait a really long time, just like another show that did not have an appearance in 2018, Game of Thrones. But we talking about good stuff right now, so My Hero.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan has some of the best animation.
Yeah, and I was surprised because pretty much since season 2, I was like, what does this key open?
Yeah.
What's happening in this basement?
Kind of.
But then, right towards the end of the season, they just pivoted. Like, oh, this has to do with everything still. Oh, okay. So I'm interested again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really good, especially the last
3 episodes. Were crazy because it started with the whole ice caves. Scene that is my favorite scene of the whole show now. It's like every show comes with like that moment that I'm just like I'm not gonna forget that at any point during this show. I know I'm not gonna forget that whole little fight scene deal
of them storming the
them storming the caves and Aaron's tied up and that whole thing was cool. Me personally, I was more invested into the music of 2018. I think it was a pretty decent year for music, but and this is coming from like I'm a huge Kendrick fan, and I know the Kendrick J. Cole debate is ongoing and always will be until they come out with a joint album or
Cough hint.
Right again. But J. Cole is my favorite thing of 2018 musically. Like, I like a lot of the other albums. I like Travis Scott's album. Like it was pretty straight. Drake had an album.
Drake
but
had
like
singles.
J. Cole to me feels like a part of 2018 just because he popped up on everybody's stuff, whereas everybody else just dropped something in 2018. Like J. Cole is the artist of 2018 to me. So, and he also dropped some stuff. So,
I would sleep on Anderson .Paak until
Absolutely.
this year.
His album this year was
After Oxnard dropped, I went back. I've listened to all his stuff. I've listened to everything No Worries has done, which is him and Knowledge. Which, once again, I didn't know that they just had all this material. And I just have respect for anybody that sings and plays drums at the same time. Like, if you talk about something I would want to see live,
that is some serious coordination. It's a reason, like, more often than not, a lot of drummers are completely silent while playing. It's like you don't want to be thinking about not too much else while coordinating 4 limbs together. Like, it is pretty difficult. So, props to him on that, especially doing it on a Tiny Desk concert. Because,
word.
Yeah, Astroworld's still my top album of the year.
Astroworld really made me want to go to his tour, but also made me not. This is almost gonna transition back into bad, but it makes me almost want to not, blame Travis Scott for wanting to do the Super Bowl, even though it's obvious why we shouldn't want him to with the whole, cap situation and all these other artists. Like saying there are people who have been, told to do it before him, Jay-Z, but they all declined. Because, we got to stand with the fact that the NFL don't care about us. But, it made me hype for anything Travis Scott related to the Astroworld. I get that, too. 2018 had some all right moments. So, we just, as we move forward, got to be less complacent about what we allow to happen. And try and, focus more on the good stuff. And do more of the good stuff.
I think above all things, we just got to start learning and applying what we've learned year over year. Because, prime example, the NFL. I remember at the beginning of this season just passed when everyone was talking about Cap and how he's been treated.
You haven't heard too much about none of that. I've been seeing people just go straight back in the full football fan mode like it never happened.
Folks said that we were going to boycott the NFL.
I
We were not going to watch the games. We weren't going to buy the Nelia. We weren't going to buy all this stuff. I automatically knew that was bull.
You heard that circulate for a couple weeks maybe?
Yeah. But I mean,
And I know it's easy for me to say personally, as like not that big of a sports fan. I have teams that, statistically I might keep up with a little bit. I might get a little bit happy when I hear that they did something all right, and it's all really because of hometown relevance. But it's much easier for non-sports fans to say, hey, let's boycott something we don't watch anyway. But I don't know. If I knew any of my favorite whatevers were doing things I didn't agree with, I would personally be able to disconnect myself from that person because it's just like we can't allow stuff to happen. We can't just be allowing stuff to happen. Like it's already so many situations where we say I can't do nothing about this. I know I say that about everything, about this government thing, about all the stuff that's going on. Like I can't even do nothing about it. But the least I can do is not support it. So
it's funnier to me now that Uh, being from Baltimore, I can't help but be a Ravens fan, especially recently. Uh, as far as when the team won the Super Bowl a couple years back and everything,
Yeah.
and we've been doing okay, besides for the past couple years. But now we suffer allegedly because of our QB, which they complain about Joe Flacco not doing X, Y, and Z, even though I would blame the offensive line, but that's neither here nor there. So, in answer to that, they signed RG3. They haven't really used him all year, but prior to all of this going on, when Kaepernick was looking for a team, the Ravens came up. Did we sign him? No. But here we are, still having issues as far as the QB, as far as keeping somebody in there that can take us back to the Super Bowl. Granted, I ain't really been watching the games like that. I watched us versus the Steelers because I can't help it, but the rest of it, nah.
For all the football I don't watch, I do know Kaepernick took a team to the Super Bowl. So.
I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Sports.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
2018, y'all boys.
Right. I just hope that in 2019 we just take some of this stuff that went on in 2018, learn from it. That way this year is just a tad bit better. And right now, I don't know. Like, maybe after this whole government shutdown thing ends, some other things will spur. Maybe they'll start these investigations, get this man out of office. I don't know.
Maybe they'll start all these investigations. There's a lot of y'all.
Y'all
Y'all need to be investigated.
Just investigate everybody.
Everybody needs goddamn investigation.
Cancel culture is alive and thriving, so everybody's gonna get canceled. And when everybody gets canceled, nobody's canceled.
That's a whole nother discussion, though. But
Golly.
Y'all boys, remember, please.
Ooh, this is more relevant than ever.
Oh my God! Please remember.
Please do not shuck and jive.
just don't.
Please.
Just don't, man.
Don't do it.
Just
It's not